It's been a long time since I've been live. I feel like it's been weeks. It's definitely been weeks. It's been at least three, maybe a month. Which is so interesting because right before I was not here for so long, I was here. Right after I celebrated doing it consistently, I stopped doing it consistently. um, but here we are. It's good to be here. I definitely can't say that I'm 100% feeling ready to be here, but I feel like I'm not letting it stop me from being here. And so I have a little bit of preparation. Hi, Natalie. I have a little bit of preparation for, what we're going to talk about, but I trust that a free flow is what's going to not only serve me, my mind, and my heart and my spirit, but serve whoever is listening. And I know the overall feeling is healing. And so that's what I'm trusting today. I pray that as you tune in, you have everything you need, whether you want to get some tea, sit up in a comfortable spot, find yourself in a place that's quiet and safe. And let's tune into this message. Let's tune into the garden and check in with our family, which is each other. I'm going to start off by playing a sound bowl. And feel free to just close your eyes or keep them open, totally up to you. Watch the motion of it all. But really tune in to the balancing that these frequencies are going to provide. I know I'll be doing that. So let's get into it. Beautiful. So welcome again to the Butterfly Experience podcast. I am Imani the Superstar, as was said in the intro. I am a performing and recording artist. I'm also a professional vocal coach and voice healer. And today I am your show host for the Butterfly Experience podcast, which is said in the intro all the things that we are centered around and that we care about. And one of them is deep healing, transformation, divine creativity, things of that nature. So if that interests you, stick around and let's get to know each other. So today I really wanted to do an update. I wanted to do a check-in. Like I mentioned before, it's been a while since I've been here. It's definitely been a few weeks and a lot has changed. Nothing is the same. Word to Drake. So I wrote down some things that are different. I wrote down some things that have been difficult. I wrote down some things that I've been celebrating and some lessons that I've learned. And I usually like to dive a lot into it in journal form before I come on here, but for now we're just going to let it free flow. So first thing is that I'll start with is letting go. And this was the thing that was hard. Letting go of fearful, older, weaker me. I have a serious issue with calling old parts of myself or past selves weak. I feel like it is very insulting and insulting. Yes, that word hits. I feel like I've had a lot of moments that have made me feel insulted lately too. So that word is like very much so big across the screen right now. And what is also like a spider web around those words is ego, is self-esteem, is pride, is confidence, is like knowing of self. I feel like all of those things have been challenged with this insulting energy. And so when I first wrote the word weaker, I pushed myself to write it because I felt like I don't want it to affect me so much when I describe past versions of me as weak. But I'm tied between, this has been like a lot of things lately. I'm tied between like, you need to be real about what was happening. And if it was weaker, then it was weaker. And also just like, watch your tone. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, yes, I could see how the older versions of me could be described as weaker, but using certain words, and this is something I've been thinking about too, like using certain words or displaying certain things in a specific way, you never know like, not you never know, but it's the intention doesn't always line up with the impact. So I could be saying that my past selves were weaker in order to like put in my mind that like I need to be stronger, but instead of it doing that, it can just make me feel some type of way. Now mind you, this is saying that out loud. It's like, well, you need to work on the fact that it makes you feel some type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shouldn't be what happens. Like, take it and let it make you stronger, let it educate you. So I'm not here to say like either way of thinking is right or wrong, whether it's like get over it, be stronger, let it educate you, or I feel the type of way, I need to work with this, I need to sit with this. I'm not saying either way is right or wrong. I'm just saying that both ways exist in the human experience. And so again, for me, it's been working through that insulted feeling, whether it's feeling insulted by myself, like I insulted myself, or I've been insulted by an exterior source. And so anyway, to go back to letting go, it's like letting go of those moments of feeling insulted have been difficult. Letting go of just past thought patterns have been difficult. And I think that the thing that trips me up the most, and I wonder if you all can relate, the thing that trips me up the most is not knowing for sure if what you're letting go is something you should be letting go. Or not even that you, not, okay, let me back up. It's not the wonder of if you should be letting it go. It's more so just like, no, that is the wonder. It's like, should I actually be letting this thing go? And I think that, you know, when it's things that are tied to your beliefs, things that you've tied to who you are, and things that have got you to a certain point, good or bad, it can be like, am I supposed to, like, it almost feels unnatural to let it go. It feels unnatural. It feels not right. It feels harmful. And it's so wild because I was talking to a friend of mine and they were explaining how, you know, when you're emotionally attached, and I was saying it the day before too, it's like when you're emotionally attached to the situation, when you're insulted, you know, it's hard to see, it's hard to be clear, it's hard to gain clarity, it's hard to know what's right or wrong. It's the same thing if somebody pisses you off really, really bad, and it's hard for you to choose which route that you should take, which route is the right route. And then what makes it even more complicated is right or wrong is situational. Not only is it situational, but it's very much so it's so complex because it's so complex because it really just like not only depends on the situation, but it's like it depends on so much perspective. Like everybody's perspective is different. So it's like I can feel as though I need to let something go, but at the same time it causes so much harm. And also, you know, when I'm experiencing it, I can literally be like, the amount of harm that I feel just is not making it seem like this is something that's actually healthy. I don't think I wrapped the bow on that completely. It's been a while, but yeah, so, you know, me personally, I've been going through understanding what parts of myself before. Oh, let me read the comments. Hi, y'all. Hi, Soraya. Hi, Mar. Hey, Sierra. Everybody wish Sierra a happy birthday. Her birthday just passed. Sag season. All right, the family, the butterflies. The family of butterflies were here. It's good to see y'all. It's good to be in company with you all. But yeah, so me personally, because of all of these things, I had to sit down and identify what growth versus wellness was, and how do they intertwine, and how can they be separate, and what do my relationships and situations teach me about these things. I wasn't going to talk about this, but it's okay. I'll touch on it. I actually do have notes on it in this book. So, you know, I really want to do a fleshed out conversation about this, but it's okay. It'll be as fleshed out as it needs to be. Thank you. Oh, how about I spit a little bit? Excuse me. It's knowing it's for the best. Surrender. And it's hard to surrender when the approach feels aggressive. And I think that's what I've been dealing with. It's like the change that I feel like I'm being called to do, how it's being presented to me feels very aggressive. And so it's just like sometimes it doesn't feel safe, or it doesn't feel like it's making me stronger because I feel weak as fuck in this moment. It doesn't feel like it's making me grow because it's reminding me of how much I need to grow, or it doesn't make me feel as confident because it's reminding me of all of my insecurities, or like all the things I haven't done. And that saying that out loud, that part feels like, damn, that's when I started having to have the conversation about growth versus wellness, and again, how they intertwine. So like, let's talk about that. I'll actually open up to my notes. This is a really interesting conversation because it does get really tricky. I'm not sure if it's in this book, actually. Let me see. I literally wrote about what growth is to me and what wellness is to me. I pretty much can do it from memory, though. God bless. Oh, it's right here. Okay, cool. So when I first thought of this, I said, do I value well-being over growth? And then I said, can well-being be more important or equal to how I value growth? Do I value well-being? Oh, I said that. Can they exist together? How? Do my relationships, business and personal, support my well-being, my growth? What's the comparison? How do I feel about these ratios and results? What is well-being? How do I experience it? How do I cultivate it? How do I know I'm experiencing it? What is growth? How do I know I'm experiencing it? How do I cultivate it? So let's get into that, because that was a lot of questions I kind of threw at y'all. So first, I always like to define things. So I define well-being and I define growth. Well-being to me is literally splitting the words. It's well and it's being. Well is healthy. Being is existing. So how I define it is existing within health. And how do I know I'm experiencing it? I know I'm experiencing well-being when I feel a sense of satisfaction and clarity. Also, when I can function in a way that is efficient and supports all of my best practices, best self, and genuine needs. How do I cultivate it? I cultivate cultivating a healthy existence, mind, body, and physical and spirit. I'll explain that because I kind of said that jumbled. But so again, well-being to me is being healthy, and being, and it is unintentional because we just kind of got here, right? But it's also intentional. There's times when it's unintentional and times when it's intentional. So it can go both ways, but that's well-being to me. I then of course went on to define growth, and growth to me, I said, was progress, learning, bettering something. I know I'm experiencing growth when I see or feel evidence of change and it is supporting my well-being. That's growth to me. Growth needs well-being within it, right? I cultivate growth by paying attention to myself, giving myself space, and being, I don't know what that says. My handwriting I'm working on it. So again, growth to me is something that is progress, it's bettering, it's like transformation, it's change. I think that, and then of course, I was asking myself, can they coexist? I do believe that they can coexist, and they have, and there's evidence of that, right? Saying all of that to say, when it comes to surrender and release and things of that nature, sometimes growth doesn't feel like well-being, because you can connect well-being to how you feel. And for me, there are things that I'm going to say right now that I don't even fully all the way believe yet, but part of me does. I just feel like I believe it in my spirit or my mind, but my heart hasn't caught up with it yet. It's the same thing like when you go through a breakup and you know that somebody's not good for you. You know that you need to leave. Your mind knows this, but your heart is still kind of like, still kind of left behind. And I feel like that's how I am with the growth that I've been experiencing. It's like, in my mind, I can see how, it could help. But in my heart, I can feel how it is painful sometimes. And also, depending on how you're growing, if it doesn't include well-being, I do feel like, I wonder if the growth is worth it. I wonder, yes, sometimes it is. Sometimes the tears, the pain, the fight, the getting beat up and standing up again, sometimes it is worth it, I think. But I'm contradicting, so follow me if you can. But in the past, I felt like, if it was painful, it wasn't worth it, because not feeling pain, or me just feeling like I had peace, was more important. And you see how, as I'm talking about this, it's so like complicated, because it's like, are you not able to experience peace, or are you just like bothered, and so you're not able to center yourself to see how something is working, or to see how you're growing, because you're so emotionally attached again, right? So excuse me. That's what I've been going through. And I know it sounds all over the place because it is. And it's not something that I can, at this moment, because I, kind of halfway prepared, it's not something I can wrap up in a pretty bow and just make it make all the sense like a fucking English essay that just has the perfect intro, middle paragraphs or whatever, and then the conclusion. But that's something that I've been struggling with, is just like Mars said, surrendering, letting go, releasing, and knowing what I should let go, and like how I feel about the process of how I'm letting it go. Let me know if y'all resonate with that. Let me know if that's something that you've struggled with, and how did you handle it, especially for my people, my butterflies who are in their 20s. Because I feel like you go through it at any age, but I feel like every age is an era, and I'm in my early 20s era. So it's like, I want to know, for people who have been in that era or are in that era, how do you deal with that surrender, that letting go? I also want to hear from anybody, but like I'm saying, especially because of where I'm at presently, my 20-somethings or 30-somethings, that would hit for me. I think that the last thing I'll say, as far as wellness, growth, and just the process of surrender and all of those things, I don't think that well-being is always about feeling good, but it is about peace. It is about peace, and I feel like it's about passion. So for me, it's like one of the things that, I'm working on is my growth when it comes to how I present myself energetically and, also physically. And so it can be very frustrating when you become aware of certain things and your standards change. I won't say they just get better or higher, because just because somebody doesn't dress a certain way or carry themselves a certain way doesn't mean that they don't have high standards. Their standards could just be different. And I really do believe that. And then I think that, so I'll just say different. That's why I said different. But like, I feel like I just messed up my hair, but whatever. As my standards, or like my vision, let's say my vision for myself is changing, and my awareness of things is shifting, is putting me in a position to have a little bit more discipline and care a little bit more about certain things, be a little more prepared, dedicate a little more energy or time to certain things. And it's very frustrating. It can be triggering. It can be frustrating. Like I said, it can be overwhelming. It is rewarding. It can be rewarding, but it's a learning process. I think that's the biggest thing I'm going through, is like a process of learning and surrendering and fight. And like, sometimes I fight the wrong thing. Sometimes I fight the thing that's helping me, whether it's the message, the person, the process. Sometimes I fight the wrong thing. Sometimes I fight myself. Those are the hardest fights, when you're fighting with yourself. I direct my energy the wrong way sometimes. I transmute it into the wrong thing sometimes. You're bound to make mistakes as you're learning. You're bound to make mistakes as you're changing. But I was saying all that to say I had a different point. Well-being, peace. I think for myself right now, I need to have things that bring me peace, because I'm fighting every day. So I need moments and practices that make me feel still, that make me feel calm, or make me feel accomplished or proud or happy, things like that, because you're not necessarily 100% happy when you're fighting. So and I have that. I'm getting better at cultivating it. I'm getting better at realizing what those things look like, what they are, and making room and space for them efficiently. But yeah, it's difficult. It's hard. And I feel like just even being on here tonight, it's like, okay, you want things to be a certain way. This is you all are just seeing me for an hour on camera, but outside of that, it's a whole 23 hours where I'm going through things or experiencing things that the camera isn't seeing. Nobody's really seeing unless you're like really close to me, or unless it's just myself, because you only know how much you go through. So yeah, I think growth can happen, but you have to have well-being. You got to understand what that is, and it's not even just things that feel good, but things that can at least bring you from the extremes of feeling terrible. Okay. That felt very, I don't know. I let go by granting myself the same humanity I grant others, and I read Octavia Butler's work, who reminds me that God is change. I like that. Thank you, Jasmine. God is change. I heard that quote before. God is change. And I do feel like, it's so interesting because, okay, this definitely, I know this is related to the song that I'm about to put out. It's called Crazy Now. And every time I work on music that I want to put out or I'm about to put out or whatever, I start going through exactly what that song talks about on a very extreme level. I'm very connected to my music. And so Crazy Now just talks about shifting and just feeling like people don't get it and you don't care anymore. And if they're going to call you crazy or whatever, I'd rather be crazy than stupid. And I've talked about this before, but I'm still not 100% sure. And I just want to feel 100% sure. And sometimes I don't. But then I have these moments where I really do. Where I'm like, okay, I see how this is so good for me. But then there's those moments where it's like, is it? What about how we used to do things? What about who I used to be? The things I used to like. The time that I used to spend doing this. These habits, or this amount of effort. Now it's this amount of effort. Or now it's these things that I like. Or it's this way I spend my time. Or it's this person that I'm becoming. And it's not that other thing. And it just kind of feels like I haven't made up in my mind that, like, I'm only feeling that way because I was doing it for so long. Like, part of me is like, no, that's not the only reason. It's because that way was right, or because that way was best for me, or that way fit. And it's not just because I did it for so long. And I can feel how immature that sounds. I can feel how young and how naive that sounds. And I don't mean I'm not using these adjectives in an insulting way. I'm using them because I'm smart as shit. And as much as I'm, book smart, I'm spiritually smart. And a lot of us as Black women are. So we can see ourselves doing something and we can feel our 30-year-old, 40-year-old self giving us messages in that moment, even though we're not even there yet. And we wrapped up in these feelings that we are at 20, whatever, teen, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I can hear myself being like, no, this is how I was doing it, how I was supposed to do it. You coming in and changing everything. And it's like, you think you're upset because this was working for you. But it never actually was. You're upset because you don't feel power anymore. You don't feel control over the situation anymore. Somebody else has control. Somebody that you don't really know. Even though you might have thought of them in your head, you might have imagined or dreamed of or envisioned, but they weren't running. That vision wasn't running shit. You were running shit. And now there's a new sheriff in town, and that shit bothers you. And I fucking get it. I get it. That's also why people who haven't gone through that process within themselves can't understand other people who not only have been through that process within themselves, but move in the world like that, where they're not bothered by people being bothered by them. Because they already did that shit within themselves. It was like, I bothered myself to the point where I had to realize what surrender was, and I had to realize what my energy do. And so now when it happens in the real world, because I already understand this, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, again, I can feel how naive, immature, young I sound. And even as I'm saying that, there's still a part of me that's burning to curse me the fuck out. Like, who the fuck is immature? Who the fuck is young? Who the fuck don't know what they talking about? You think you know what you talking about when you don't know me. Like, bitch, you don't know me. Stop telling me what to do. And coming here and think you know shit when I've been doing this shit forever. Valid. I hear you. I do. And this is a conversation as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to my younger self, my past self, right? When I say young, I really only mean like last year before that, right? I really don't mean that fucking young. But yeah, it's like, again, as I'm talking to you, I'm talking to her. I'm talking to 22-year-old Imani, 21-year-old Imani, 23-year-old Imani, stuff like that. And it's just like, you need to let that go. But you feel like you can't. I don't feel like I can sometimes, y'all. I don't know. I don't know if I can. Sometimes I get up and I'm like, actually, like, I'm about to just not care. Or actually, I'm about to care about this thing rather than that thing. Or actually, I'm about to just be who I was. You know? But, excuse me, I'm trying not to be the parts of who I was that were harmful to me. But then, that inner voice is like, was it really harmful? Was it really? We got this far. And it's just like, girl, yes. Because you can't go any further. If we stay like this, this is exactly where you're going to stay. And I say that in my song. In Release, I say, it's okay to release. It's okay to let go. All that's holding you back, no, it won't change if you don't. I ain't saying it's easy. I just really believe that inside you, you know who you are destined to be. I really be writing my future. That shit be so crazy. What? Did you just hear? Yo, when I'm saying did you, I'm talking about myself. Like, did you just hear all the answers in that song? It's okay to release. It's okay to let go. All that's holding you back, no, it won't change if you don't. I ain't saying it's easy. I just really believe that inside you, you know who you are destined to be. You know the other thing I really have to let go of, because I have a huge attachment and like pride thing to independence, of just like, I'm not doing this because you told me to. I'm doing this because I want to do it. I've been like that my whole life, where it's just like, you don't have shit to do with this. Like, whoever it is, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me, it's me. I did this. It's me. I want to do it. That's why we're doing it. I said so. Power, control. Also, and it's experience. There are experiences that made me that way. Right? I think a part of it is natural, but a part of it is nurtured too. And so, I think that, and I was talking to my friend about this as well. Like in high school, I called myself rebelling against the system, the school to prison pipeline, which is a real thing. The fucked education system, which is a thing. Racism, all of these oppressive, all this systematic oppression. I call myself rebelling against it, and rebelling against the people around me and the things that made me feel less than and uncomfortable. But I was always just rebelling against myself, and I didn't know that. And so now this like extra hard, deep rooted, just deep levels on levels on levels of just like, fuck you, that I thought I was giving to everybody else, I was just giving it to myself. And so now I have years of what I thought was exterior fuck yous that were always just interior. They were always just inside. And my fuck yous literally barely did anything to other people. If anything, it helped them half the time. But who did it hurt? Me. And that rejection that I thought I was giving to other people in relationships, in school, in, professional situations, it was four fingers pointing back at me every time. And now that's embedded and that's integrated. And so it seems like my compass is off. My compass of when what I'm doing is actually for a bigger movement or bigger picture. Is it that, or is it something else? I'm sorry, y'all. My throat itch. Anyway, I'm gonna try not to do that. That's not a feeling I could just. But yeah, so with all of that, I'm sorry, I know that shit probably mad annoying, but with all of that, it's like, okay, what does embracing me look like? What does I'm so sorry, y'all. I can't help when I get these allergy attacks. But yes, what does embracing me look like? Because that's the ultimate fuck you. Like, that's what really would have got him. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's what really would have been like, oh, instead of not doing theater as a fuck you, to who? My school? Bitch, they gonna do that show anyway. And you know what they gonna do? Replace you. Who are you hurting here? It's only hurting you, sweetheart. Like, What did you think? Like, now you've robbed yourself from it. Like, and every time I meet somebody who did theater in high school, I think about that shit. Every single time. I'm like, literally, I thought I was, like, it's like I made myself up to not care. But I always cared. I always cared. And that's like top tier Sagittarius shit. Like, top tier Sagittarius shit. I'm gonna act like I don't care. But bitch, I'm dying inside. But you'll never know because bitch, fuck you. Like, every time. Period. Saying all of that to say that I am learning what it looks like to hold on, y'all. Let me because I'm not by myself and I need people to be quiet. Hold on. So, yes, it's like, what does it look like to embrace myself and not be afraid of failure, not make up reasons why I can't do something or I can't have something? What does it look like to be completely and utterly delusional, while also backing that shit up with every action possible? And I was thinking about that as I'm working on this music video that I'm putting behind. It's like, I'm not gonna just say that shit's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna do everything. Like, I need to be able to walk away from situations knowing I did everything possible to make that shit work. And that's the energy that I'm in. And I pray that this struggle between me and my past self, I pray that it gets easier. And I pray that I believe more, because as much as I'm telling her to be quiet, I'm still, even, and I'm playing mediator, I'm kind of still questioning that present self, that like, I'm telling you, like, you know, or future self, you could say present or future. I'm like in between the past, present, and future. Like, I'm just all of them at once. I'm just like, I'm still questioning. So I just pray that over time I question less and I start to trust that, like, yo, I'm telling you. And then on top of that, the belief, I pray that my passion is restored. Something that I've been thinking about a lot is how much passion I feel like I lost, or how much drive I feel like I lost. And I keep asking myself, well, when did you lose it? What happened? Because a lot of times I can pinpoint, if I go back far enough in my childhood or whatever, I can pinpoint, if not the exact moment, all of the moments, you know, together that accumulated over time that led to something that I believe, or how I am, or something I want, you know, things like that. But when it comes to my drive, when I look back, I'm like, I don't know what changed. Like, I don't know what the moments were, but it's like I'm starting to get clarity over time. And I know one of them was just choosing to act like I don't care. Like, and you know, like, all right, we're going to talk about that too. Like, sometimes I'm actually scared of the things I don't care about. Because it be things that I feel like I really should care about. And that's I've been having that thought process for years. Because I'm like, you know, as somebody who's been through just like not having the best boundaries. And then like in a lot of moments where I didn't have the best boundaries, like when I was younger, I didn't care. I was hurt and I was in pain, but I didn't care enough to do something about it. And so like as where I am now, it's like that thought scares the shit out of me. And I'll be like, there's even things now where I'm like, you should care about that. Why do you not care about that? But then it goes away and I don't think about it. And yeah, like that bothers me. Like, why do you not, you know, care about this thing that you should care about? I think it's normal to care about this thing. I think you should try to care about it. But it's like, can you that becomes my question. Can you convince yourself to care about something you really genuinely don't care about? I don't know. I think you can. I used to not care about, I don't know. Not that I didn't care. I just showed my care in a different way because I couldn't show it to my full capacity. It's like if you have a partner and you're like, I just want to give you the world, but like I'm broke as shit. Like, yes, you can do sentimental things, yes, but we're not talking about that. Like, it's like you want to do all of these things. You want to buy them nice things and take them nice places and spend on them and provide for them. But it's like you literally can't in that moment. So it's like you change the way that you care. You do sentimental shit, but you want to be able to do both, right? It's the same thing with my care. It's like I wanted to be able to like dress a certain way and look a certain way when I went to school, but I couldn't. So it's not that I stopped caring. I just made it like my style to be like tomboyish and like the whole like cute bummy look. Like that became my thing. But it wasn't what I originally wanted. It's just what I kind of adapted to. And then it did feel comfortable over time. And I did kind of like, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm cute. Like, whatever. But it wasn't the natural reaction is what I'm trying to say. And then so like, I keep losing my train of thought because I started wondering if I was like talking about this too much, which is so interesting because I don't usually do that here, but sometimes I do. But yeah, so just praying. I know it was relating to me praying that the care, like I'm in like a boundary thing like that. Yeah, I'm like trying to teach myself to care about certain stuff, and it feels so fraudulent sometimes. Like, it's just like, girl, you don't care about this, but it's like, I know, but you should. And so I'm trying to teach you that this is something that's a priority. I think I should look at it less like I'm teaching myself how to care, and I'm teaching myself better priorities and better boundaries. And I think if I frame it like that, it'll sound more appealing to my younger self and to me, just as a young lady. It'll be like, oh, okay, you're not trying to teach, like, it's because it's almost like you can't force yourself to love somebody. Like, it's like, so same thing with care. You can't force yourself to care about something, like you being fraudulent or you're lying. But it's like, it's not that. It's just a shift in, again, priority, a shift in boundaries, a shift in maturity. So yeah, that helps when I look at it that way. But overall, what was the overall topic we were talking about? It wasn't just caring. It was like, yeah, being wrapped up in your past self and future self, and just kind of like, creating that fight between the two. I think that I just pray that the fight dissipates and just like not only dilutes, but like literally dissipates over time. And it just becomes, I just ease into I just fully embody and embed and become one with who I'm trying to be. And the thing is, there's so many factors that tie into that. There's like mental and physical discipline. There is financial stability. There is time. That's the other thing I had to realize yesterday. I'm like, because I was having conversations where it's like certain expectations or like standards or and shifts within those things are happening, and they're complete black and white. And it's like I'm being encouraged to make shifts, not immediately, but like, all right, just know you need a shift. Like, you don't gotta necessarily, you're not getting evicted, but like, you're coming up on your time. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's felt like. And I had to really remember a couple of days ago, I'm like, damn, like some of these things, it's not that they don't make sense until time goes by. Some stuff, yes, but it's not even that some stuff doesn't make sense to me. It's just that I don't feel connected to it. And I think that's what be like, why am I doing this? Should I keep doing this? But it's like, give it time. Like, same thing with the butterfly experience. Like, I debated if I should even come back and start doing this shit again. Because I'm just like, literally, you didn't do it for a month. Like, you were consistent as shit, taking classes, having meetings of how to, like, expand this platform. And then, poof, we just didn't hear from you. And it's like, I really debated, like, should I even come back? Am I at a point in my life where I can sustain it, where I can build upon it? And it's like, yes, you just have to commit to it. You have to make time for it. You have to, stay on top of it. But yeah, anyway, it's just like, I keep losing my train of thought, which is so annoying. But I was talking about teaching myself the care. It'll come back if it's supposed to. But yeah, just like, time. My understanding of it is not the part that takes time because I'm brilliant. Like, brilliant, right? But the connection emotionally and spiritually that I want to have to it is not there yet. So like, and also the ease of it is not there, which makes it also harder. You know what I'm saying? I'll keep using the appearance thing as an example, where it's like, okay, I am more emotionally attached to it now than I was a couple months ago. And I was always attached to my appearance, but like in the way that I am attached to it now, it's different. And what's allowed that though is financial stability. Again, is this like want to do it? Is the support? All of those things, because they were not necessarily there before. So it's like, but again, my want for it is there. My understanding of why it's important is there. But can I say the process is easy? No. Certain shit about getting dressed is annoying as fuck in the way that I get dressed now. You know what I'm saying? And then also, again, my emotional connection to it. Sometimes it gets so irritating, I be about to say, fuck it. Like, I just won't go, or I just won't look like this. I'll just look like that. But then you start to, again, this is another thing that comes with time. Looking back, it's like, but then you start to look at your track record. It's like, damn, I looked good as shit last week. Or I looked good as shit yesterday. I don't want to fall off of that. Or I remember how that made me feel. And I was kind of talking about this. I was talking about passion. I think it was the last time I was live. I was talking about passion. And one of the things that I felt like 3 things went into passion. And I forget all of the 3, but I know one of them was track record. And track record was how you know you're a passionate person, because you can look back and be like, I did this over and over again. I didn't just do it one time. I wasn't just one and done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I consistently did it. That's how I know I'm passionate. I didn't just put out one hit song. I put out an album, you know what I'm saying, that was on the charts for months. And then I did it again, and it charted for longer than last time. Then I did it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how you track passion. You also track passion by losing and getting back up, but like just time, like your track record for how many times you try to make the shot, you try to hit back, you try to fight, you try to whatever. That's how you track passion. And so when it comes to like me developing that emotional connection to who I want to become and who I am becoming, inevitably, it's fate, right? It takes time to develop that emotional connection. The same way when you're dating. Some people sometimes just love at first sight. A lot of times that shit is just lust, but like over time, like over a year, not even just a year, like 2 years. Like what you like, you know what I'm saying? Like when somebody done got on your nerves, when somebody done broke your heart, when you done made mistakes and you done lost forgiveness of yourself, or you're not feeling as passionate about that no more. Like, or you change, or that person changes. It's like, all right, after 2 years, what's your connection? And how does your track record, when you look back at your track record, how does that support the data? Like, how does it support your decision? What's the data telling you? And the data for me is telling me that, like, there's progress. Remember, we talked about growth. I wasn't always feeling well, but there has been progress. And it's important for you to have those conversations with yourself so that it can make sense, especially for my earth signs. And for my fire signs too, because we get very like feels, but we do like shit that makes sense, at least for Sagittarius. I feel like for Aries and Leo too, it has to make sense in their heart though. And that's why for us, developing that emotional connection to something that we don't feel yet, and it has to be developed, we struggle with that shit, because we thrive, or we're the most passionate, or we make the most moves, or we're the most sure, or we are the most proactive when we feel that emotional, like you feel it in your heart and your gut, like it's spirit. Like we move off of that. So it's like when that shit is not there and you telling me it's gonna take time, like it's like an arranged marriage, you'll learn to have feelings for your husband over time. Like fuck, like no, like fire signs don't operate like that. Like that shit has to make sense on this, even if it don't make mathematical or logical or physical sense. If it makes spiritual sense, it's like, okay, that shit be meaning more to us than the other shit. So it's like when that's not there, and I'm speaking as a fire sign, sun and moon, it's like, what the fuck are you telling me? Why am I here? What am I doing? You know what I'm saying? Unless we're one of those fire signs that's just mad toxic and addicted to abuse. You know what I'm saying? Been there. But outside of that, it's like, what the fuck is the point? Like, I don't feel emotionally connected to this. It doesn't do shit for me spiritually. So, yeah, I guess what I'm working on is not just growth or wellness. It is growth, it's wellness, it's shifting of boundaries, a strengthening of boundaries, a shifting of priorities. It's growth, it's maturity, it's realizing how naive, how I used to be actually is, and being able to admit it and not calling myself weak. It's not weakness, it's just naive, it's just young, it's inexperienced, it's doing the best of what you had. And one day I'm going to look back at who I am right now and say that same shit. So it's all of those things, but it's what really stuck to me in this whole talk that really, really hit home is developing the emotional attachment to who I want to become. Developing that emotional attachment, because when you have that emotional attachment, that want, that longing, that need, that passion, that desire, the whole like situation changes. And I feel like, again, going back to the drive, that's the word. I feel like I lost a lot of what my drive was, and because I lost my drive, I lost my vision. You know what? I think it's reverse. I think I lost my vision and therefore lost my drive. And so I think that's what's been making developing this emotional attachment to who I want to become. That's what's been making that hard, because the vision has holes. The vision shifted. It was tainted. And I've been working hard to build that back. And I've, made moves. I think not only does my social media presence show it, but my energy and like me on a personal level, when I sit with myself, I can see it, but I can also still see the weakness. You know what I'm saying? I can still see the holes. And so that's what I'm working on. And I feel like a lot of us can resonate. A lot of us can relate, but I won't speak for anybody. But yeah, it's just like the vision and developing an emotional attachment to the vision. And when I say emotional attachment, yes, I mean drive and passion, and also belief. Because that's what, as a fire sign, again, that's where that belief comes from. When it's like, that's where you can get that spark of delusion that really adds the flavor you're looking for in the food. It's like, because I don't have it right now, but when I got that vision and then got that like desire and the drive and shit like that, it does what it needs to do. So yeah, I think on my plate, I would like the vision. I would like that to take up this, and I would like the passion to take up this. The drive and the passion and all of the things like that, and that emotional attachment. I desire to be more emotionally attached to who I'm becoming. With all of that said, thank y'all for joining. It was good. It was good. I'm, for the most part, satisfied. I am still expanding. Sometimes we want our outside to reflect all the growth that's happening inside, but it just isn't all the way there yet. So I'm looking forward to the moment that it is, though. I'm looking forward to re-emotionally attaching. And that's the thing. I've been so in and out of emotional attachment. It's like, I think I'm like that with a lot of shit in my life, where it's like, okay. It's like, okay, I'm feeling it, and then I'm not. And then I'm feeling it, and then I'm not. And like that, it's almost like, it's the same thing with my car. Like my car will be like going a certain speed, and then it'll be going a certain speed, and then it stutter. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, thank you. How can I get you to run correctly? And what's happening right now is the battery. It's like, okay, you need a new battery. Yes, it'll be posted, so don't worry. It'll definitely be posted, and it'll also be on Spotify, so y'all will have all the access to it. I love how people are pouring in when we're literally like in conclusion, but it'd be like that. Again, it'll be available for y'all to watch, listen to, whatever you need. But yeah, it's like, how can I get this car to run correctly and efficiently for long periods of time without stuttering, without backtracking? And again, right now it's the battery. I have to replace my car battery. That's the power. That's the life force. What is my life force? What is my power? And I ask myself this all the time. I knew back in 2020, I figured out what my power source was. It's joy. It's joy and it's peace. And it's, again, things clicking, things making sense. It's that spark. As a fire sign, come on, this is very cliche, very 1-2. But yeah, and I think that's going to help my car, replacing the battery, right? Replacing that life force and, getting it, back to 100%. And I think same thing for me. So I'm doing a lot, and I have to, continue to be aware of that. I'm doing a lot. But there's also a lot to still be done. My advice, my message, my words of wisdom. You can learn to love something. You can learn to love it. And I know that sounds like we want love to be so like, it just happened. My marriage, it just works. My job, it just flows. My career, it just flows. My day-to-day, it just happens. We want it to be so magical in a toxic feminine sense. We want things to just work, to just make sense, to just be. I'm hurting feelings now. I should log off. I'm hurting feelings now. I should log off. No shade to just be. No shade. But sometimes that's not how it can be. And that's okay. It can get back to that point, but there's building that needs to be done. You can't sleep on an air mattress before you clear the space, blow it up, let it sit. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that. You can't go in a house and live in a house when you didn't finish building it. Not saying you won't ever get to live and exist in this beautiful space, this beautiful palace, but not while it's being renovated. Like, you know, it was a fucking row home, and now you're turning that whole block into a mansion. And it's like, okay, heard you. You can't sleep in it while that's happening. You're not going to feel rest. You're not going to feel great. All you have is to look forward to and develop that emotional attachment to what it's going to look like after you do all of this work. And you get to like celebrate those little milestones. Like, okay, we finished the foundation. Okay, all the windows are installed. You know, okay, the painting is done. Okay, the fucking furniture is there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then not even then can it necessarily be fully rested. It'd be like, okay, I've been here for a week, a month. Okay, now I'm used to the flow. I've been here for a year. I've experienced all 4 seasons. Now I can like flow a little better. You know, it's something that happens over time. So yeah, that's my advice. You can learn. You can learn. And that's what I have to tell myself. I can learn to love things. You know, I love my song Just Be. And I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And I still use that and learn that to this day. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on that muscle. I still go listen to that song and I'm like, okay, Just Be. My friends remind me all the time. Like, bro, you literally have a song called Just Be. You need to do that. Cool, noted, got it. And I really be doing that sometimes. Like, I need to be needing that sometimes. Yes, and, you know, sometimes you gotta fight a little bit to just be. So, yeah, that's my advice. You can learn, you can build, you can create. You can create that emotional attachment, and you can replace your own battery, too. Let me read these comments. About to listen to that right now. I accept things, but to learn to love is tough for me. It is. It is. It's not something that's easy. I wouldn't even be having this episode if it was. Yeah. Like, if you've been hurt, stepping into a relationship is not just the easiest thing in the world just because you love this person so much, or just because they love you so much, or they help you so much, or you love or like this thing about them, or that's not how that works. In my experience, from what I've been through and what I've seen, it's like there's a lot of fight that still has to happen. Happy marriages don't just happen. And I don't like to speak on things I haven't experienced, but nothing just happens. Some stuff does. Don't get me wrong. Let me take that back. A lot of stuff does just happen. But like, a lot of stuff doesn't. Happy marriages don't always just happen. Sometimes there's a lot of fight that happens before and after the ceremony. So yeah, I got a lot of growing to do. I'm a smart cookie though. Moments like this, the butterfly experience is very selfish because it does what it does for the people, and I love that, for the butterflies, for the garden, but it also does what it needs to do for me. These conversations are conversations I need to have, and I'll be needing a safe space and community to have them in this way, and where I'm just pouring out and kind of like working through my own knot, or I've already worked through it and I'm sharing it. It also is a moment to remind me, damn, you're really smart as shit. Like, you got this. I think we forget how smart or powerful or beautiful we are until we're in something that we created and we're stepping back and we're like, oh shit, I figured that out, or I did that. Okay, period. I might got a little something to work with. The butterfly experience definitely does that for me. If you're watching this right now and you love the platform, you love what I do, things of that nature, then please go stream this episode on Spotify. I'm building my platform, so you just sharing this or sharing content that you like that's on my page, I'll be trying to get back active, posting more on my page, but like you sharing this with friends, sending them a link, sending it in their DMs, posting it on your story, commenting under this, liking it, like all of those things help to get this on a bigger platform. I do have big dreams, big visions, big plans for this platform. And so, again, like, to all the butterflies in the garden, you sharing and just engaging with me, even if you don't share it, like engaging with the conversation once it's posted and stuff like that, like all of those things help. So I appreciate you in advance for, being a part of the garden and supporting and supporting and supporting. A lot of you I actually already know y'all's Instagrams from back Butterfly Experience podcast. So thank you for still being here with me. And yeah, let me read some of these comments and then we're gonna go. This resonated so bad. I feel like this is talking about my situation with my mom. You can speak for what you feel. You don't have to know everything. Nobody does. Yes, it gets easier though. Just like all the things that we work on. I know it's definitely achievable for everyone who's willing to learn love. Yes. I love how we were like actually talking about self-development and growth, but now we're talking about love because they're related, because it's self-love. It's that journey of like reconnecting to yourself, the better parts of yourself when you've operated in these other spaces. Reconnecting to the better parts of yourself and your visions and your passions and the things that you need and stuff like that. Thank y'all again so much for being here. I'm trying to see if I have anything to announce for y'all right now. Honestly, no. Just know I'm working. Just know that there is music in the works. It's been a long time. I've been very nervous and scared to get back into it. Child, but yes, just know that music is in the works. Music video